Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Justin the Food Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm Justin Bizzarro. I'm your host. That's Bizzarro. If anyone wants to find me on Instagram or Facebook, they can find me at Justin Bizzarro. Again, that's Bizzarro. So thank you, everyone. Welcome to another episode. Today I have with us Eric Wisham of Wisham Jellies and Jams. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Justin. Thanks for having us.
Just Jellies, right? Sorry about that.
Yeah, just Jellies.
But so tell me about yourself, Eric. Tell me about you're a Georgia-grown guy.
That's
you,
right.
you decided to get into jellies, the pepper jellies, to be specific. So give me a little bit of your background and why you became an entrepreneur.
Well, I've never really knew what I wanted to do. You know, I worked various jobs here and there, and I always had a knack for gardening. My granddad taught me that at a young age, and I grew my own garden. I guess I was in my mid-20s, and started growing a lot of peppers. I like hot peppers,
Yeah.
so I had 10, 11 different varieties, and at one point I had probably 75 to 100 plants, and I was pickling them, giving them away, and figured, why not try to make something, a salsa or some hot sauce or something hot with them. And I would always go to the grocery store and buy like a generic brand of jalapeno jelly, because I like to cook with it. I'd smoke a ham and put it as a glaze or do pork chops. So the first one I made was Fire, which is our hot one, and it started from there. And I started incorporating fruits with it and started all these flavors I have.
Yeah, so let's back up a second. So let me first, how can people find you online, and where can they find your products?
That's right. Yeah, we have a website. It's www.wishamjellies.com. You can find us on all social media outlets, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Our website has all our locations to where we're at. A lot of our locations are here in the South. We have various grocery stores that carry it, a lot of meat markets. We have restaurants using our products, a lot of gourmet food gift shops.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So what type of, give me an idea of what kind of jellies you have, where the ideas came from, sort of. I know you've had a lot in the Flavor of Georgia, and we've talked about Flavor of Georgia a lot on this podcast, but you're a Flavor of Georgia alumni, quite a bit of awards there as well. And so tell us about the flavors. Is it just that you had the idea, or is it just,
Well, like I said, it started with the hot one, and I like to cook. That was the whole deal of making the jelly. So the first one I made after the Fire was pineapple. So I'm thinking pineapple pairs well with pork and chicken. So I experimented with that, and then I made a peach. Just each idea that I came up with was that I wanted to include some sort of fruit with that, and try to figure what it would pair best with. The most interesting one I would say would be the mango. My first thought was fish and shrimp, chicken, and that's exactly what we use it for. And yes, the Flavor of Georgia. Been pretty fortunate with that. So we actually just won last year with our apple fig.
Yeah. And so one of the cool things I think that you've done is you haven't limited yourself to a certain creative, or I'm only going to do a certain amount to go to market. You've sort of allowed yourself to limitlessly explore the different flavors. Has there been a flavor that you're sort of still working on that you haven't had success on, or that you're trying to get there that you're just struggling with?
Yeah, I've got like I said, I've got 11 flavors, and that's quite a bit to deal with. But I'm looking at a couple other flavors I would like to do. There's one I'm not, I would say, struggling with. It's the process of this one I'm working on.
Yeah.
I'm looking to do a watermelon pepper jelly.
Absolutely.
And the deal with that is getting it to gel like it should. There's so much water.
Yeah.
In that it's diluted, and but there's a way around that, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I wonder if it's some sort of puree or something of the watermelon, or
Yeah, correct.
I don't even know. But so you get this idea, the gardening, you've created the jellies. Where do you go from there? Now you've created a brand. Your logo is distinctly you. So tell us first, I mean, how you came with the logo, the name, the design on the bottle, why you chose the bottle you chose, because I think it's such an important part of this stepping process and getting your product into commercialization the way that you have. So let's talk about some of that.
It is. So, like I said, I cooking and grilling, and my parents both said, "You're gonna sell pepper jellies," and I was like, "Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do." And when it first started, we used just mailing labels and typed it up on the computer and stuck them on the jar
Yeah.
and sold them at the farmers market. But I wanted to push our product to be used for grilling and cooking, not just cheese and crackers and that sort of thing. So anyway, I told my dad, I said, "Look, I got to come up with this logo." So I got my grill, stood beside the grill, got some tongs, threw a thumbs up, and he snapped a few pics. And there's a guy in Tifton, hometown, Scott Beasley. He did all my graphic designs. Real good guy, he's real good at what he does. And he was just really getting started with that. And we worked on it for months, and he would send me logos. I'm like, "Man, that's too cartoonish. We got to get it more, more realistic." And finally we nailed it down and got it. And that's the whole deal with me on the front, is when you see the grill, that I want people to see the grill and know that, well, hey, maybe this is used for cooking and grilling.
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
got a flame on it. And also, I color coordinated each flavor to the labels. So we have mango and the label's yellow, peach and the label is peach color, and then strawberries red and so forth. So it gives you, it's eye catching when you see it.
And I think it's good because it's the same logo. The name's different, obviously, because the fruit's different per se, but you've also color coded it to the eyeball to train people on what the different flavors are, even the shelf on the fridge or whatever. I think it's an important differentiator for I love the pineapple myself. It's my favorite one. But I've tried all of them as being a judge in the flavor of Georgia over the years, and just grabbing them and trying them. But I mean, okay, so let's talk about you've developed it, you got the logo together, you got your guy, you've gone to market. Now, I mean, how did you go to? I mean, you talked about the farmers markets, but I mean that's just a stepping stone, right?
That's right,
So,
yeah.
where do you go from there?
Well,
mean-
what you do is, well, farmers market. Farmers market is definitely a way to start. I wasn't, like I said, this was all just a
Yeah,
experiment. Was just playing around, giving it to friends, and getting on Facebook and saying, "Hey, I'm making jelly. Who wants a jar?" And
Yeah.
it started that way. And then, of course, I found out the farmers markets, you don't have to be fully certified kitchen to set up at a farmers market. You can actually make a product, go in, and sell it. So I did that. And the next step to that is you need to be, of course, you got to go through all your licensing and all the food products and your UPC codes and nutrition
Yeah.
chart. It's a whole nother ball game. But if you want to have your product in places, for the public, that's the route you got to take with that, just like any other product.
is it something you then, as you did that and you did the production, you did it all yourself then?
I did. I did. We made everything there at the house and would sell it at the farmers markets. And then once, and I went and spoke with UGA there in Tifton to get some recommendations on what to do. I tried so many ways to make it work to where I could do a facility and do that. It's just a lot to put in for one product. You would have to make it for others for it to all work out like it's supposed to. Unfortunately, we were introduced to a packing facility that handles our products, which I think is great because now I can market
Yeah.
and sell and be in front of it.
And so, I mean, so you're going out on the road, then you're being the face of your business and building the relationships, I assume. So, I mean, it's literally now you've sort of stepped a stone, got the farmers market, you've established it. Then you've stepped and you say, okay, I'm going to do this, but I need to spend my time growing the band, not necessarily making the brand. I've perfected it. I know it works. I need someone else to do it so I can grow it. So,
That's right.
I mean, how did you go about that? How are you still going about that? I mean, ultimately the goal is, a bigger store, bigger online presence always. But I mean, what are the ways that you're going about it now, and where have you found success?
I found most success is getting the product in front of people, and instead of, it's just like excuse me, it's just like I would say if you were looking for a job, you're not going to call and say, "Hey, are y'all hiring?" That doesn't work.
Yeah.
You want to get in front of someone and show them what you have. So that's what I see works. It worked today.
Yeah.
We were in Athens and stopped by a few stores and got into locations and working our way back down to Tifton now and trying to see what else we can pick up.
And I think your reputation's obviously growing, and your product, I know more and more people know who you are and what your product is, and we've certainly been impressed with it over the years. And I mean, we see it in Farmview Market every time we drive to the airport from here.
We just left there.
There you go.
Yep, just made a delivery right before we came here. So
Yeah. So I mean, it's got to be pretty cool to see a product of your own sort of start to grow, or people take interest in it, and starting to move off the shelves and the way that it has. I mean, obviously it's not easy. I assume there's been hard knocks along the way.
Oh, definitely. I mean, and not every location is going to sell. I mean,
Yeah.
you got people that's never even heard of pepper jelly, and they're
Yeah.
not. You got people that just don't step out of their usual normal routine to try anything new. That's what I push. That's how I push. That's why I push it to say it's not just used for cheese and crackers. I mean, if you want to take a spoonful out and saute peppers and onions or anything like that and cook with it, and also a key to selling is sampling.
Yeah.
I like to go to different locations and sample and set up and get my product in front of people. But unfortunately, we've had COVID and a lot of that's been cut off. But now that things are starting to open back up, I'm going to get in and try to do a lot more sampling and really get it out there in front of people.
So let's go back to the original thing. Does a pepper jelly, can it be a bell pepper, or does it have to be a spicy pepper? Or is your preference just spicy peppers?
Yeah, well, the original pepper jelly that you see is usually bell peppers, and I like something with a kick. So
Yeah.
so I wanted to include the jalapenos and other chili peppers to our product line, and they're all spicy. So I do have customers that say, "Oh, we just want a sweet pepper jelly." I'm like, "Well, that's not what we have. All ours has just a little kick in it, but it's not so hot you can't eat it."
Yeah, and I think it's if you put it on a burger or whatever, even on a sandwich, you put it on top of a grilled cheese after you've grilled it. We've done some of that. The
Yes.
kids do that. So I think it's just so versatile. It's not only a breakfast item, the jelly, and
That's
if you see it as, okay, this can be my marinade. I'm brushing it on my steak as I'm cooking it, or roast or whatever in the oven. You can do different things,
Right.
or on the grill. So, I mean, what are your favorite ways to cook with it? And what are your favorite ones you've created? I mean, it's like picking a child, right? But
Yeah.
that's your favorite.
Yeah.
But
I would go fire is my favorite one.
The first
It's-
one?
Yeah, it's just straight pepper. You could use it in so many different ways. We have a local restaurant in town, the pub, and we've created a shot with our fire pepper jelly.
that's pretty cool.
So it's muddled down and mixed with a strawberry puree and lemonade and vodka, and it's called Fire on the Berry. So we created the shot with it, and we've tried it with ice cream. But my favorite, my go-to would be the blueberry. I use the blueberry a good bit on when I glaze ribs, and I do pulled pork. The mango, I love to use mango with salmon and chicken wings. I would say those two are on my go-to, and the fire as well. I like to mix it with, not when I say doing a hamburger, I mix it in with the meat and then patty the burgers out and cook them instead of just glazing them on top.
So do you have your own? I mean, where do you do all your cooking then? If you're testing all this stuff at home,
At home in the kitchen, and I've got an arsenal of grills in the back. I don't know how many grills I've got, 15 or 20. I just bought a new one, and I go back there and just experiment and and cook and just try different things, and I just enjoy doing it.
So let's talk about the grills then, because that's pretty cool what you're doing. You're obviously trying different things and different variations. So give me some examples of why so many grills when you're trying to perfect a skill such as yours.
Well, the grill, that comes in play through my dad growing up. He always smoked whole hogs,
Yeah.
and he didn't cook. That's not his profession. He's a PA, an orthopedics surgeon in Tifton, and we had a big pull behind smoker. He'd always cook whole hogs for families and weddings and events. Wouldn't charge anybody, just do it. And I got the knack of cooking from him and my grandmother as well in the kitchen. So I just picked up grilling at an early age, and it's like, some people have a deal with buying new TVs or new cars or whatever, new golf clubs, whatever it is you like. And
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
deal is a new grill. I'm like, I gotta have this. I want to experiment with this and see how this works. And
Yeah.
that's how I got in the grilling. That's why I have so many grills I have now.
I think it's pretty cool. So, I mean, what does it look like coming up with an idea? I mean, and when you're talking about experimenting, I mean, give us an idea of the things that someone like you who's so dedicated to not only grilling, but you also have dedicated yourself to this also, the jellies that go along with it. So, I mean, talk about, I mean, there's obviously a lot there. It's your childhood. It's what means a lot to
Oh
you.
yeah, yeah, it does a lot of that. A lot of that growing up around all that does. So it's almost like my happy place when I get
Yeah,
most
absolutely.
people get home and do their thing. I go straight to the kitchen. I just start cooking.
Yeah.
I'll throw stuff together. I'll go to the grocery store every day and walk the aisles and look at different things and say, you know what, I'm gonna buy this chicken and I'm gonna saute it a certain way, but I'm gonna try it with this jelly, and I just what I enjoy doing.
It's awesome. So, I mean, so you've got this passion for grilling. So it's not only just Wisham jellies, it's other things. So let's talk about your other passions. I mean, I think as an entrepreneur, you're always sort of multiple interests just by nature. Just the
Yeah,
sense of wanting always to do more.
the grilling. Actually, I want to do a barbecue cook trailer
There you go.
and sell the jellies off the trailer and also offer the food that I cook. I'm actually in the process of working on that now in our hometown, and it's a process. I mean, like anything else,
Yeah.
But we're figuring it out, and hopefully it'll happen by the end of this year. Is what I'm shooting for. That's my goal.
Yeah. I love it because I think one is you can bring it to anywhere and you can shop it around or do the weddings or whatever. You're also building your brand, but it gives you the ability to sell your own product. And
That's right.
in today's world where you're so subject to everyone else, or you can either use your own work ethic and hard work like you do and dedication and just sort of keep building it as you go. And I think what you're doing, it's the right way to do it. People will see it in the stores. Oh my gosh, that's the same thing I see in the store. So it's reinforcing something in a different way.
That's right. And
Uh,
and I think that's that's a good way to put that. And I think that's gonna really help people understand how I really use it at that
Yeah.
point when they order something, and it's like, this sandwich has got the jelly on it. These ribs are glazed with the jelly, and then not only can you purchase that through me, but we also have our jellies right here. Grab a couple jars, take them home, experiment yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think that's true with anything. Why not just try it? What do you have to lose? You live once, and I think the same thing with the pepper jelly. Until I tried yours, I honestly, it's a South thing, so I hadn't had it. I'm, Maryland, New York, most of my life, Pennsylvania, and then Colorado. So I hadn't spent enough time down here until doing Flavor Georgia and trying it at the Flavor Georgia
Yeah.
to really understand the difference and the uniqueness that the pepper adds to it, particularly yours and the spice. And so I think it's worth just trying for anyone. Go online, order some, try it in various ways with your favorite protein. So I think that's important. So, what is it that you would hope that if someone else were starting off that, or I'll ask the question differently. If you could go back and tell yourself something 7 years ago or 8 years ago when you started this to help expedite your process, what would you have told yourself?
Well, I'm not sure. I never, honestly, I'm not even like bragging or talking about it, but every flavor that I made, it just went. And I mean, I never had any trouble with anything. But as far as going back, I would. It's a tough question. I mean, I hadn't really.
That's
I
good.
don't really know what to say about what I would change. I mean, if that's I think I'd change anything.
There you go. And so, I think it's pretty impressive the journey you've had, and you've built something the way that you have, and followed a passion. Not many people have done it and continued on and fought the fight in the flavor of Georgia and continued to go on with flavors the way you have, and I think it's pretty cool. So, is there anything you want to say to anyone, or anything you want to tell the audience, or?
Yeah, if you have an idea, go after it.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can put it. You can't sleep on it.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen itself.
Yeah.
You just gotta make that decision and try it. What else you got to lose?
Exactly.
And and recently with the jellies, I've come out with an all-purpose rub, a sweet heat rub that's really taken off.
Yeah.
And then that's doing really well.
And so, I mean, I know we were starting to close, but I actually have a few questions based on that. So, are you getting into more of the seasonings then as you've done the barbecue, or sauces, for example? Is that something that you're wanting to do?
I mean, expand our brand. I don't think I want to veer too far away from what I do,
Yeah.
because then it's too much
Yeah,
going
absolutely.
on. I want to stick to what works,
Yeah.
and the jellies work. So I have thought a little bit. I do have a barbecue sauce that I make that's really good. Maybe one day I'll add that to the line, but right now I'm going to stick with the jellies and the rub. The rub came about is my dad has a rub that he makes himself and uses, and I took that and tweaked it a little bit with some other spices that I included with that, and it's done fairly well. So for now, I'm just gonna stick with that.
Well, and you're fairly laid back, at least on the podcast, and since I met you, but I mean, you've seemed to just realize it's a journey, not a destination. In talking to you, I mean, COVID comes and goes, or bumps in the road, as you said. There's no looking back. I mean, when a situation like that comes up, I mean, really, I think it's important because different people and different entrepreneurs have success handling things different ways, and sometimes they feel alone when they handle things a certain way. So, I mean, how is it that you're coming out the other side, we're starting to open back up, but how did you manage that as an entrepreneur?
It was stressful, but nothing. At the end of the day, if it's out of my hands, you just got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And now it's opening back up, and I've got to rebuild it and keep it going.
Yeah.
Can't
it's a
lose
tough
traction.
time.
Yeah, can't lose traction.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Eric, very much for being on the podcast, and thank you, everyone, for listening in. Again, will you just tell everyone where they can find you online and on Instagram and Facebook?
Yeah, so our website is www.wishamjellies, WISHAMJELLIES.com, and Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as Wisham Jellies. And also search our hashtag #GetYourGlaze On.
Yeah, there you go. Get your glaze on. And so the other part I want to just make sure is you're a man of very few words, but I think you're very impactful in your words, and you're very precise, and I think you've done very well by precisely just that and being who you are. And I just appreciate you coming on the podcast and taking the time and coming up here to Milledgeville to do this with me.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I needed it. Sometimes the entrepreneurs help me. Your calmness, your life, I enjoyed it today. Thank you. Thank you guys for listening in.
Cool.